Hello, Do Life in a Body You Love chicks. I have a beautiful guest here for you. She is a client who I used to work with, Stephanie, and her weight loss journey has been really fantastic. I know you guys are going to relate to her on so many freaking levels and pick up so many good takeaways that you can use to help you on your own journey. So, Stephanie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. So real quick, we'll get into all of the details, but give a real brief overview of the girls of what have you accomplished on your journey so far?
Yeah, so it's kind of been, I was someone who growing up was never overweight. Like I was able to eat whatever I wanted when I was younger, and I really didn't start having issues until I was like 35-ish. Things started changing. And so, as far as on this most recent journey, I guess the biggest win I had was my mindset. I didn't realize how much my own head was in my way, because I've tried so many different things and my head just got in the way every time, like telling me you can't do this, you're stupid, you're whatever. Like those things that your brain says to yourself all the time. And then you listen and you just believe it and you get derailed just on your own self. So that's probably my biggest win. And then just learning um, how to work with the macros. Like, I've never been one that liked to count my calories or do all the tracking. But once I really learned how having the right amount of protein and having the right amount of fiber, how much that affected how full I feel. Like I can't even tell you, because I would try to, restrict my calories so low, and I'd be so hungry all the time, and then I'd be so, the word hangry, like so miserable, like because I was hungry and not happy and just thinking about what I could be having, but I'm not because I'm trying to be good. And learning that you can eat, if you do it right, you can feel full and still lose weight. And that was huge.
Yeah. So how much weight have you lost?
So, I don't know what you want to consider. Like,
From the beginning of your journey, I think you just told me you're like close to 30 pounds, right?
yes, yes, from
And then
when I
before
really,
keep it
yes.
off.
Yeah, so like 30 pounds total, but like before Keep It Off, it was maybe 10, and I was kind of like stuck. And then I lost another 10 and Keep It Off. And then when I started coaching with you, for those 3 months, I lost like 8 pounds, which in 3 months, that was like a huge win for me, to win that much, lose that much that quick.
So if the girls are listening to this and they're like, "Dear God, that sounds like a painful long journey," and she's all excited about 8 pounds in 3 months. You guys, that 8 pounds came on the tail end of her already having lost 20, and she's still losing. But the best part is she enjoys her life while she's losing. And so we're gonna get to that because that's the key to keeping this off is you have to actually enjoy your life while you're doing it. And I feel like this was one of your biggest mindset hangups was you felt like, oh, I have to be so strict. Oh, I have to take everything away. Oh, I'm not going to be able to go out to dinner. I'm not going to be able to drink wine. Meh, 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 meh. All the things that we think because we're told we have to be so strict. And then, of course, we're reluctant to really go all in because that sucks. And we don't want to live like that. So, before Keep It Up, let's back up. You said things went rogue on you around the age of 35.
Yes.
So yes, I relate because mine was a little bit younger than that. It was like around 30, but I was always like small until I wasn't. I just feel like I woke up one day and I was like, how did I get this size? And of course, it's not overnight, but it feels that way because you're busy and you're not paying attention, right? And it's just like, oh, I got to do something here. So you gain weight. You've never been overweight. What'd you do about that? What are the first things you tried?
Yeah, so I should say when I was in my 20s and had no business actually being on a diet, I really wasn't overweight. But I had a friend say, let's do Weight Watchers together at work. They had Weight Watchers at work. This was a long time ago, y'all. I'm not that young anymore.
Y'all, how do
Um,
we Keep It Off in the workplace? If anybody's listening and you're in
right?
corporate America, screw Weight Watchers at work. Let's get Keep It
Yeah,
Off at work. But okay,
that'd be
continue.
awesome. Anyway, she's like, let's do Weight Watchers. And I'm like, okay, cool. So like I show up at Weight Watchers and at the little meeting, like we all got together in the office and they were like, you want to do Weight Watchers? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, you have to be able to lose at least 10 pounds. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, get on this scale right now. And I was like, what? So I had to weigh myself in front of them, and they're like, okay, yeah, according to the BMI scale, yeah, you could lose 10 pounds. Because I honestly, I weighed, my weigh-in that day was 119 pounds, okay? I was not overweight. I had no business being there.
For a frame of reference, she's a shorty. What are you,
Oh,
5'1"?
yes, I'm 5 feet, 5 feet.
Okay. So 5 feet, 119. She's not overweight at all. And just you guys don't know this, maybe just seeing her on Zoom, but girl has mad muscle. She was a gymnast when she was younger. And
No.
so, yeah. So that matters, right? Like
Yes.
119, 5 foot frame, but very muscular build. No, boo, you had no business in that Weight
No.
Watchers room. But anyways, you were overweight weight on the BMI scale. So they're like, all right,
Well,
let's
I went
go.
with my friend, and their criteria was you have to be able to lose 10 pounds, and 109 was 10 pounds, and that put me, I still, the minimum I think was 102 or something like that. So they're like, yeah, you can be here, welcome or whatever. And I felt like an idiot right from the get-go. But this was a long time ago. That was like the first time I ever tried a diet, and I really did it for my friend more so than anything. She's like, let's do this. And I was like, okay, cool. But anyway, I did that. I lost the 10 pounds in the time period. Like I was like the star pupil. Whatever. I did it. Great.
They all
Wonderful.
hated you because you were the only one who didn't actually need to lose weight. And they're like, of course she hit her goal.
Right. I probably was that person that they hated. But anyway, that was a long time ago. Fast forward to, gaining weight over time. Um, I had done that. I went through my divorce. I was miserable. I was probably so thin because I just was unhappy. I was running on my treadmill like 5 miles a day. Like I was unhappy with my life. I moved to Texas, and, got happy, found a new man, whatever, slowly started gaining weight. And then, like, over 30, the whole thing started kind of happening. And so, yeah, tried this. I'm not going to name the program. It's local to the Dallas Fort Worth area. So I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but it was a
Yeah.
horrible program, okay? I paid a freaking ton of money, but I found myself, okay, at this point, my heaviest, I was 174 pounds on my 5 foot frame. It was awful. It was awful. I never thought I could. I mean, I told people that I weighed that, friends of mine, and they're like, no, you never weighed that. I'm like, yeah, I did. And you knew me then. They didn't believe it because I do have a lot of muscle, but I still was overweight, right? I had a lot of belly fat, a lot of belly fat. And anyway, I felt like I need to do something. And this program promised, you're going to lose all this weight, whatever. I went. They barely told you anything about the program. You had to pay up front. It was a lot of money. I looked at my husband. He's like, I know you really want this. Let's do it. I paid the freaking money. And then I find out like I can hardly eat anything. I mean, they had me on like 1,200 calories or maybe even less than that. I couldn't have any carbs. They're like, we'll put the carbs back gradually. And I'm like, what? And then I was like, well, I want to work out. They're like, you don't need to work out. I'm like, but I like to work out. Because at this point, I was already working out regularly. I love to work out. And I don't work out to lose weight. I really like to work out. It's a stress relief for me. It's fun. Like, I enjoy it. So anyway, I was like, but I'm going to work out. And they're like, well, you don't need to. I'm like, well, I'm going to. So then I'm like, I had to go weigh myself and all this stuff. And they were like, I was like, I'm so hungry. And they're like, well, if you're hungry, just eat a hard-boiled egg. And I'm like, what? But I'm hungry.
Filled up no one ever.
I want food. Like I was just, you can ask my husband, I was miserable. And I quit that program after less than a month. I didn't make it because I was like starving, unhappy. I was losing some weight. I was definitely dropping pounds, but I was so unhappy. And then friends were like asking to do stuff, and I'm like, I can't do that. I can't eat anything. Like it was awful.
Yeah, because
So
if
that
you're
was,
starving, you don't want to
yes.
go out in public with people when they're going to be eating food. That's just torture.
And stuff that I can't have, right? Because it was all on the forbidden list. I mean, they told you you can't have this. And when I was like, but what? And they're like, are you serious about losing weight? Because if you're not, you can just go. I mean, they were just, I can't even believe I signed up for this. It was awful. Like, and then like, so whatever, I failed at that. I continued on, and then I tried Noom. I will say that one, I don't care. Noom. I did Noom. I did Noom in 2019, right before COVID, and I actually did really well on Noom. I lost 30 pounds on Noom. Great. I mean, it took a while, because their whole thing was the psychology of weight loss and whatever. And, I was tracking, but I was making some changes, but not really, because I was definitely restricting myself. And I hit the number and I was like, wow, and COVID happened. I lost my job. I was still at a really good weight. Like, I was still considered on the BMI scale overweight because I was about 128 pounds, which I'm supposed to be 125, I guess. Whatever. Um, I'll be happy at 130, and I'm close. I'm at 141 right now. Like, I'm doing really good. I lost another pound since I've been done coaching, so still going.
Yay!
Anyway, I lost my train of thought. But and
You
I was
did
doing
good on
Noom. Oh,
Noom
I
and
did
you
good.
lost weight, but
Lost
then
my
you got
job.
lost your job. Yeah.
But even when I lost my job, I was still doing great. Then when I got a new job again later, like I was laid off for a while. When I was laid off, I was bored. I was working out in the morning. Then I was taking a 2-hour walk in the park because everyone else was working. My stepson, my husband, and I'm like, I got no job. Like, it was horrible. Um, so I was bored. I was walking like 20,000 steps a day because I just didn't have anything else to do and I didn't know what else to do. So when I got back to work, I started gaining weight. And again, once I hit my goal, I was like, Shh, no more tracking, no more nothing. And I just kind of went right back to what I was doing before because I never really learned what to do. And that kind of brings me to, okay, fast forward it took me a couple of years, but I gained it all back. Everything I lost, put it all back on over time. And then I'm like, here I am again. Dang it. And I saw your simplified fat loss group and I kind of like stalked it for a while. I watched. I didn't really like, "Oh, I'm not going to do anything. Just kind of go watch some webinars, like just kind of kept watching things. And finally, I'm like, I've got to do something. Like, I'm just disgusted. Like, how did I get here again? And I just want it to be different. And so that's when I um, started. I did one of the like hot, not hot for the holidays, the summer one, whatever the summer one's
When we
called that
did
you
Summer
do.
Slim and it was like a 2 week program.
Yeah, I did that because I was like, I didn't have to put any money. Like, I was like, okay, I'll do that. And I lost some weight on that and I was like, oh, it got me excited. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try doing, and I tried like I can do this, no problem, whatever. Um, and so I did that and kind of got stuck, like, okay, now I'm kind of not doing anything. And so I don't remember what exactly set me over the end to go in on keep it off, but I met with you and finally was like, okay, I want to do this, right? And I was with Coach Debbie, who's amazing, by the way.
Yes, we love Coach
Um,
Debbie.
I love her. And I was all, I don't want to track anything. I hate tracking. I'm burned out on track. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to restrict. I don't. And I was just probably the hardest person for her because I was just like, I didn't want to do anything that she was telling me to do in the beginning.
I love you so much for admitting that, by the way, because let's be so for real, you guys. If you're listening to this, how many of us are like, I'll do anything to lose weight? And sometimes we do crazy things. But then there's other times when we're saying it and we're like, except for I won't do this, reasonable things. And we're like, yeah, but no,
No.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I've done
And I
that.
was like, I don't want to track. And Debbie was like, okay, we can not track. And she just kind of sat back, let me work at it. And it's not that you have to track. You don't necessarily have to, right? But I am a eater. I love to eat food. Like, I am like some women I know their thing is they don't eat enough, right? That's never been me. I love the food. I will eat the food. In high school, they always told me I had a hollow leg and I ate as much as the boys. It was kind of embarrassing. Like, I ate the food, right?
Same girl.
So I've always been the eater. So for me to restrict was always hard, which is why diets were hard for me because, but I'm still hungry. Like I still want to eat. Like I couldn't turn off like that I was hungry, where other women like they're not even hungry because they've turned off their hunger somehow. I never understood those people.
Listen, I coach women who are in that situation, and I'm like, how did you do this to yourself? I mean, it's not really actually a good thing, but I'm like, how did you turn off all that food noise? I'm with
Yeah,
you. I eat a ton of food, and the more I try to not eat, the more I think about
yeah,
food.
exactly. So anyway, I had to learn, but honestly, it wasn't until, well, I was adding the protein, and that was, Debbie was like, get that protein and get that protein. And like, okay, okay, okay. I was like, whatever. But then like that was helping, but yet I was like, I'm still not quite getting there. And then the fiber piece came in. And once I started hitting, I was like, you want me to eat how much fiber? I was like, what? How? Because I'm like kind of a fussy eater, and I'm like, where's the best, most fiber come from? Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. What? I can't do this, right? Like, but I finally did find things that I like to get me the fiber, and I've got like my big thing is getting the breakfast in with like a good amount of fiber because that sets you up for the day, and it's like, oh, now I'm like halfway there, and I don't have to think too hard about getting it in. Um, but once we did that, I realized, oh my gosh, as I started tracking, like my calories are low, but I'm actually not starving. Like I feel okay. Like, did I really eat? Okay, cool. I ate enough and I feel satisfied. Like, oh, I can make this work. And I realized if I kept the fiber there, that was because me eating a lot of protein didn't really help. I needed the fiber. I needed them together. And so that was a huge difference. And that's when I started seeing the scale move more, and that's when I got okay with tracking because I felt like, okay, like, because I used to get so frustrated because I was still hungry and I'm like, but I'm out of calories. That was me. I was the girl that was like, I'm out of calories. But then once I tweaked it and I found like high fiber, high protein recipes, I was able to get it in my limit of calories and still feel like I'm satisfied. And that was the game changer for me. Like I can do this without being starving. And then I can go on the weekend and have something I quote shouldn't have, right? And it doesn't derail everything. On Mother's Day, I went out and had brunch and I had French toast. Talk about a carby lunch. It did have some eggs with it and two mimosas. And you know what? It was one day and it was fine. It was fine.
I love
You just go but get up the next day and you do the right thing. And you can do that sometimes. And when I found out that I can still do it, what was I doing just the other day? And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to make room for it. And I literally, oh, it was my Bible study Monday night. It was the last night. So they wanted to do like a little social ice cream social, bring toppings. And I was like, ice cream. So I strategically planned my day so I had room for the ice cream. And then, it, it was fine. I was down. Like I made it work. And to know that you can do that is very empowering. And like it's not horrible. Like I thought I had to be that person in that weight loss program that was miserable to actually hit your goals, and you don't have to be that person. You don't. I mean, it's not fast, y'all. It's not fast. Like it took me a long time, and I average a half a pound ish a week, and some weeks I don't really lose any, but I'm not gaining and it's slow, but it keeps happening. And you know what? I don't care how long it takes me. Like originally I had said when Nikki and I started coaching in February, I said, I have a cruise in June. I want to be 130 pounds for my cruise. Am I going to be? My cruise is in 5 weeks. Nah, I'm not going to be 130. I don't care. I got a new bathing suit. I like how it looks. And you know what? That's a number on the scale. Nobody knows what I actually weigh. And apparently people think I weigh less than I do. And I think that's the muscle that's on me. I don't really care. But I look okay. And you know what? I don't care. I mean, yes, I want to get down to that number, I guess, but I'm just good with how it is right now. And I'm just gonna keep riding it, do what I need to do, work hard when I need to work hard. When I go on vacation, I am not going to worry about it a thing.
Darn straight you're not. There's no tracking on vacation. So this is what I think is so cool about tracking. So just so the listeners know, everybody in Keep It Up does not track. We have some women who never track, but some people need it as a really good learning tool to give them back control and really like empowered on your weight loss journey, right? Because it's like we've all tried calorie counting before, but when you're doing that without the full macros picture, it's not the same. Like Stephanie said, that you're like, but I'm out of calories and I'm still hungry because the other pieces aren't dialed in. So sometimes it's like we have to get the protein, fiber, fat, even like when we get things right. And then that sounds like, oh, but that sounds like so much work. Well, it is if you're working with somebody who just hands you a set of numbers and says, here, you have to go make the math. But we'll like literally, I literally get on with my clients and I'm like, okay, let's pull up your food app. Tell me what things you think you want to eat this week. And we'll plug them in and like make the math work with real food that you like eating. And then it's like, does this take more thought work? Yeah. For me as the coach and for you as the client, it takes more thought work, but all the freedom that it gives you. So Stephanie's happy losing a half a pound a week. There have been times where she's like, oh, I wish this would go faster. And I'm like, okay, cool. This is basic math. Let's talk about it. We would change this and this. So that means when you go out on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, because this girl has a very active social life, I'm like, you
I
can
do.
still go rogue. You're just going to have to go a little bit less rogue. Do you want to do that? And she's like, no, I don't like the trade-off. I actually like how fast I'm losing. Cool. Then we have some other women who are like, no, I want it to go faster. Okay, here's the point. Once you understand how your metabolism actually works, how do you get into a calorie deficit so you're losing weight without wrecking your hunger hormones? This is what Stephanie's explaining here is like she's got the right balance of nutrition, so her hunger and satiety hormones are kept in check. And if you're an overeater like me and Stephanie, hello, you got to keep them hunger hormones in check, or you don't stand a chance. You will constantly be blaming your willpower and blaming your cravings and saying things like, but I just like food too much, which is all sort of true, but it's not when you learn how to dial this in. So it's kind of a pain in the butt skill to learn, but like, do you think it's worth it, Stephanie?
100%. I mean, that was always me. I was always saying, can't, I have no willpower. I can't say no to the food. I'm too hungry all the time. Like, I really just felt like I'm doomed to fail. Um, yeah, and to think that I could actually make it work, and I used to stress out like we're gonna go out to eat. Oh, and now I'm just kind of like, okay, I can look at the menu and be like, all right, I can get this, or no, I really want this today. I'll just get this, and tomorrow I'm gonna be dialed in and it'll be fine. But I used to stress about that. If I go over my calories, it's over. No, it's not. I mean, well, yeah, if you do that every day, it is. But you know what I mean? Like I learned that it's not all in one thing. Like you can work with it. You can play with it. You can I really want to do this, so I'm just going to be really dialed in these days and then I'm just going to do what I want to do, or how important is it to me? I've been able to reevaluate how important is it for me to have that, right? Like if it really is important, then okay, then I will mess with things the day before, the day after, whatever I need to do to damage control that. But you can still do it. Like, I mean, I certainly have not given up wine. I definitely like wine. I like to drink wine. I've been strategic about how I do it. Um, the adding the soda water to it sounds crazy, but I'll pour a tiny bit of wine and fill the rest of the glass with soda water, and you think it's not going to even taste. No, it still tastes like wine. Guess what? But I'm drinking a fraction of the calories. Man, your head, you can trick your head into thinking I just had a whole glass of wine and oh, I had 3 glasses of wine, but I really only had one. That's huge for me
It's
because I
fine.
like
It's
the
just
ritual.
finding the
Yeah,
ways to make it work for you. And that's why when people are like, well, what will I have to eat if I do keep it off? I'm like, I don't know. And then, well, what workouts am I going to have to do? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I know the basis of what we're going to do, but there isn't a magical food. Like when you understand the big picture, there's so much flexibility. And that's what we all say that we want.
Yeah.
But then really half the time we're like, somebody just tell me exactly what to do. And it's like, well, how about we find a way to make it work for your life so you can just keep doing it forever? But there's reluctance in that because we don't believe it. I feel like maybe that was some of your reluctance. So you made progress and keep it off. You totally did.
Yes,
But then you made faster progress when we started working together one on one the past few months. Like your mindset
really
shifted
changed.
more in 3 weeks than I saw it in like a whole year.
Yes. I don't, I mean, Debbie kept working with me on the mindset, and I just was really struggling. And I don't know what clicked, but something did. Like, yes, I made a ton of progress as far as like, the macros with the food and figuring out how to work that. But I still was getting hung up on myself a lot and still like, oh, I screwed up. And then getting myself in the, oh, who cares? And then just, making it worse by just saying, I can't do it anyway, right? And I've somehow got myself over that. And I'm not exactly sure what one thing. I think it was just over time, but it was like a light switch went off when I finally figured it out. And it's like, oh my gosh, okay, I can do this. And um it made all the difference. Like I
Like
really did.
it comes in phases, right? It's like you did a piece of it on your own and then you got stuck. And then you did a piece of it and keep it off. And there were parts where you were dragging your feet to actually do the things, and that's fine. You guys, if you are an existing client and you're listening to this, hear me. You will pick it up as fast or as slow as you pick it up. Just because it sounds easy on paper, this is the part that trips women up. It sounds easy on paper. You look at your plan, right? We have our blueprint planning session when you first sign up, and you're like, yes, this makes sense. This is all food that I like. This is easy. I can totally do this. And then because it is so, quote, easy, that when we get sidetracked or we get in our own way or life we're so much more judgy to ourselves because at least if it's a strict diet, you can be like, well, this sucks. But when the plan's pretty reasonable and you're not doing it, you're much harsher on yourself. But here's the facts. Behavior change is not easy. Period. End of story. It doesn't even matter if the habit that you're talking about implementing is easy. That just means it's going to actually be doable to turn into a habit. But turning something into a habit is never freaking easy. If it were, we'd all be skinny, rich, have perfect marriages. Like, life would be magical if we could all just, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do, and then just freaking do it. That's not how behavior change works. So Stephanie drug her feet on a few things. Who cares? She got there eventually. Are you now concerned that you're going to put this weight back on?
Nope. I'm actually not.
I have zero concerns about you putting this weight back
Mm-mm.
on.
I know what to
Zero.
do now. Like, I mean, I'm not saying I didn't at the end of Keep It Off, I knew what to do, but I think my mind was in the way and I wasn't because that's what happened. Like I finished Keep It Off. I was like, I'm gonna take the summer off from tracking because I was already burned out from tracking. And I was like, I just don't want to do it. And I did pretty well maintaining my weight all summer and living my best life. And then in the fall, like I could see it, like I decided to check the scale. I was like, oh, I'm starting to go up. And I'm like, oh, and you threw out that coaching option. And I was like, my tax return came and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. And so I did. And I was like, I felt like I had what I needed. I just needed that little bit more. And I was all in. And I think that's the difference. At the beginning of Keep It Off, I wasn't all in. I mean, I wanted to do it, but I was not all in. Or I was like, oh, but I don't want to do this. I don't want to. I was like, I know what I just need to be dialed in. I need to, get there. And I knew I needed a couple of tweaks, right? Like with my food, and I wasn't sure what to do. And so that's why I think it went so much faster. Like I saw change quicker. And yeah, I'm certainly not the person, I've seen people like they lose, a pound or two a week, and it's like that's never going to be me because I love food and I don't care. I'll get there when I get there. Like I'm not that worried about it. And I've seen so many changes in my body versus maybe not as much on this scale, but just in these last couple, I've had people say to me, "Oh, look at you. You really look toned." I'm like, "Oh, thank you."
The toned, the thing we all want to
You
hear,
know,
right?
like, okay, cool. But I've had people like actually say that to me just from these last couple of months. And, I've dialed in my workouts. I've always worked out, but it's kind of like, well, what are you doing? And I've dialed in my strength training a little bit better than what I was doing. And I think that's made all the difference. And I mean, I'm more happy about the inches I've lost versus like the weight, because I'm in the smaller sizes. I was able to get, a two-piece bathing suit and not like be scared to go out in it. Like those are things that are huge victories for me. And I was like, wow, I actually look okay in this. Like I went in the dressing room, that you feel that like, oh, I have to go try this on.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, that's like, is this a trick mirror? This looks okay. Like I've never said that to myself. I was always like, ugh, when I would look at myself. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy this bathing suit like for my cruise. Like, and
You're like, and it better look like this when I get home because this better not be a trick
right.
mirror.
I was like, so I put it on when I got home to show my husband, and I was like, it looks the same. I'm like, oh my God.
You're like, it's
But
real. This is my real body.
yes, and like we went in the pool this weekend, so I got to try it out like in swimming, like, so when it's wet, does it act the same? Swimming suits are weird. But I was like, okay, it stays up. This is all good. Everything's secure. So I'm ready for the beach, man. Let's go.
I
Have another
love
5
that.
weeks to go, but I'm ready. But I
You're
am
ready
hopeful.
early. Most
Yeah,
people are, if they even feel good by the time they get to vacation, they're squealing in at the last second. Like there's no carbs for 14 days before this cruise. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I
yeah.
gotta lose as much as I can. You're 5 weeks ahead of time. And in fact, like last month, you told me, you were like, Nikki, I feel good in this bathing suit that I bought. Like, if I didn't, I'll keep losing weight. Sure, why not? Because it's so doable. But if I never lost another pound, I would happily go on this vacation and wear this bathing suit and not think twice about it. And I was like, hell to the yes,
Yeah.
way ahead of schedule.
Yeah. So I mean, like, yeah, did I meet my quote original goal that I had of being 130 pounds No, but you know what? I met the goal of how I wanted to look. And that's more important than what you actually weigh. And I had to get past that. Like, it's not what you weigh, it's how you feel about how you look, what you're doing. I know I'm doing the healthiest things I can do. I'm eating the healthiest I've ever eaten in my whole life. Because let me tell you, I ate a lot of junk growing up, a lot of junk. And somehow I was still skinny when I was a kid. Like, oh, I shoveled it in, like the worst things, like Coke for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, that was me. So, I've made a lot of really good changes. But I mean, I've changed my diet in the last like 2, 3 years. Not That's not really recent, but I've really dialed it in. And then coupled that with the strength training changes that I've made, has really increased what I've been able to do, um, for getting my body to look more the way I wanted it to look. So it's
Yes,
definitely
because you
more than
had the
just what you eat.
foundational pieces in place before we started our one-on-one package together from Keep It Off. Like you were already, and you were strength training before you even got into Keep It Off. So like you had this base for working out. You had this base for what you knew nutrition to be, and you made a lot of tweaks and Keep It Off. You just became more consistent in the last 3 months. And I honestly think it was you already had trust in the process because you had seen it work for you and Keep It Off. So you trusted the things that I was saying to you. In the
Yeah.
beginning, sometimes it's like, prove it. I don't believe you that I can lose weight like this. And it's almost like, I'll show you. I'm gonna keep drinking all this wine. I'm gonna keep eating all these cheeseburgers. We'll see what you girls can really do, right? But you also, there was still a little bit of like, but am I gonna have to be too strict to keep losing? I think it's gonna
Yes.
stop. I think it's gonna stop. And then Nikki's gonna take away all of my wine. She's gonna tell me that I can't go to Bible study and eat the ice cream. And so you were very, very, very open to just coming into our message that we had together and verbally vomiting to me the things that you were thinking
Yes.
so we could get talk through them in real time. And so you just moved quick because you were open to it and you would get it all out and then we would be like, okay, cool. What's true? What's false? Sometimes, okay, so sometimes it's strategic. Let's make a change, like we did with the strength training. Sometimes it's a matter of like, no, boo, I'm sorry, I love you, but your brain just made that shit right up. And here's what's real. And we would just have real talk, right? And you were so receptive to it. You were so
Yeah.
receptive to it. And so you were just like, boom, boom, boom. And now I have zero doubts that you'll keep this off because this just feels like your whole identity shifted.
Yes. And this is just life now. Like I don't, I'm doing these things, but I don't feel restricted. And that's every diet I've ever done. I felt restricted and unhappy because I'm like, but I could be doing this, but I don't. If I really want to have it, I'll have it and I'll do. But the other thing I've also found is by changing how my macros are stacked up, I'm more satisfied. And so when I do get something, like when I had the French toast the other day, I didn't finish it because you know what? I was like, okay, this was good, but I'm kind of full. I don't really want it. And I used to just pile it all in because it was there. So I mean, there have been changes in just, okay, do I want it? Yes. And then I would eat it. But if I don't really want it, or sometimes I'm like, I don't really feel like that, or oh, I don't want French fries. Y'all, I was the one that was like, fries or die. Like, I loved French fries. I mean, I still like them, don't get me wrong, and I'll still want to eat them, but I pick kind of when I want to eat them, or I don't really want fries, or I'll let my husband get fries and I won't, and then I'll eat like two of his, and then I like had a fry, and then I'm happy. Like, it's a nice trade-off.
That's such a fun place to get because that was really hard for me to get to that place too, where I could enjoy something and not have to smash. I'm not telling you guys that I don't ever binge a whole bag of Doritos if I open them. It's rare that I do that now, but it used to be like every single time. If I started eating a French fry, I'm going to eat the whole plate of French fries. If I started eating chips, I'm going to eat the whole bag of chips. And sometimes it would be two bags of chips because I like to blend them together. Before the food industry started doing that to us with their little munchie packs, I would do it to myself. I would mix Funyuns with cheese balls. Husband would be like, "You're literally going to do that right now?" And I'm like, "So for real, yes, I am." So I never had an off switch like what you're explaining. It took a while to develop it, but isn't that so nice that like you can now partake in things that are unhealthy, but you don't lose control. And the restriction isn't even coming from a place of like guilt or shame. That's not what you're explaining. You're not saying that like you're yelling at yourself, like, if you eat these, you're just explaining that, like, well, I feel satisfied. So is it really worth it to keep eating these? No.
Yeah. It's a lot different when you don't feel like you're missing it. You're missing out. Like I had the biggest FOMO of anyone. Like, oh, I would see somebody eating it and I'd be like, I want that, And now it's kind of like, do I really want that? Or am I just think I want that? And then sometimes it is, I really want that. Okay, well then eat it or eat a little piece of it or whatever. Cause like cake, like chocolate, I love that stuff. So like, okay, then just eat a little piece of it. Like the other night, there was carrot cake at my small group. And because, yeah, I have something like every night, y'all. So busy. But anyway, I was like, so I took a tiny sliver, whatever, it's fine. And I ate what I wanted to eat of that. And I was happy I had some. But in the past, I would have been like, I want a piece of that. I want that. I want that. Like, no, out of this whole selection of desserts, what's the most important to me? Or what? I chose the carrot cake because that's not something I usually have. So I was like, okay, I'll have a little carrot cake.
Yep. Total control. I love this. Losing weight, not feeling restrictive. She gets to decide how fast she wants to lose based on what she's willing to do for it. And she loves her reasons. That's the most important thing. She's feeling good in her body. She's loving her choices, loving her reasons. I love everything about this. What would you say to somebody who is on the fence about joining us and Keep It Off or in one of my one-on-one coaching spaces?
I would say give it a chance because both both experiences were so good for me, and it's hard to make that commitment, especially if finances are tight, right? It's hard to spend money when you think, well, I could do this without it, but I couldn't because it was just the stupid little things that I needed to switch, but I couldn't figure that out by myself, I guess. So, but yeah, it's worth it because now I'm like I feel like I'm armed with what I need, and I feel like I'm not going to have to worry about this all the time anymore. Like I've got it figured out. And some people get really stuck in their tracking and then scared what happens when I stop. I'm really not worried about that because I've been pretty lax in what I allow myself. So I feel like, and I've eaten a lot of the same types of things, like especially during the week, like, okay, I plan these breakfasts and these lunches and these dinners, and I just keep doing that. Like, I really don't think it'll be that hard to change. And then if I just check in with my weight occasionally to make sure it's not like going too high, and if it is, then I'll just go right back to what I know to do. Like, I'm not really going to stress about it as long as I check in sometimes, right? If you just say, I'm done, and you shut it off and you just oblivious, well, then you could look a year later and go, oh, what happened? But as long as you check in, and I feel like I can just weigh myself once every couple of weeks just to make sure, like, is everything okay? Or do my pants feel tight? Right? There's definitely things you can think about to know if you're on track or not. And honestly, have I been tracking my food every day since I stopped coaching? No. I mean, I've been like, if I'm worried about I'm going to go out to eat, I track what was my breakfast and lunch, how much room do I have? I have been doing that, but as a daily, if I'm at home and I know what I planned, I'm not going to worry about
Yeah.
like tracking it anymore. But it's very helpful if I'm planning for, I'm going somewhere where I know I'm going to have a lot of drinks or food that I know is calorie dense, right? And how do I get enough protein in before I go and enough fiber so that I know I won't have to eat a lot of it to feel satisfied, right? Like go eat the thing, but you don't have to eat a lot of it. If you filled up on the right foods before you go, then it you can make it work. And so I kind of using it in that way and not tracking every bite, so to speak, because as long as the scale is doing what I want it to do, I'm not going to worry about tracking every bite. Like I know what I need to do. I know what protein amounts and stuff look like. I know where I'm getting my fiber from now, so I don't have to think so hard because I know the things that get me there. So if I make sure I eat that one thing that I know is going to help get me there, then I know I'm good.
Yeah, it's like it was a training tool for you, and now it's templated in your brain. And so now it's really just a planning tool when you're going to be out of your normal routine.
Yes, because we
Yeah.
all have our regular routines, right? And then when, the weekends or times when you're not, that's what always hung me up in the past. I'd be like really dialed in the week, and then on the weekend, I was the weekend crasher or whatever. I always just went overboard on the weekend and I just didn't know how to. And then I thought, well, I can't. Oh, I can never go out to eat because no, you can. You just have to be a little bit strategic. And that was something I didn't really understand until I actually saw it happen. Like, oh, wow, did I really just eat that? And it was okay? I did, you know? And so, because the rest of the time, it's not because, oh, you can magically eat, right? It's about factoring it in with balancing it with the rest of your week, right? So, and
Yeah,
learning
there's
about the
no magic
averages.
reset at
Yeah.
midnight on
No,
calories
I
in your
wish there
body, but
was.
that's what we do, right? We're like, oh, well, every day's its own thing. And it's like, actually, it's like the totality of what you're putting in your body all the time, which is really nice because then you can plan the fun in.
The power of averages.
Yes, gotta love it. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. This was amazing. You're doing amazing. You're so inspiring to all of the girls in Keep It Off. So I know they're all gonna love listening to this. And it was very generous of you to come and put it all out here like this just to help some other chicks on their journey.
Hey, it was a rough few years for me, so I'm happy to share what I learned because if it can help someone else, that's always a good thing.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, lady.
Yeah, thank you.